जब आपकी जॉब स्टार्ट हुई थी तब आपकी इन हैंड सैलरी क्या थी?
आई रिमेंबर 8-9 लाख होगी.
लास्ट जब आपने मैकेंजी छोड़ा तब आपकी एनुअली क्या आपकी सैलरी थी?
It would be somewhere around 1 to 1.7 or 1.8 CR.
IIT बॉम्बे से आपने ग्रेजुएशन करी है, देन फॉलोड बाय मैकेंजी में आपने जॉब करी, फिर भी आपने अपनी जॉब छोड़ दी,
मैनेजमेंट कंसल्टिंग में वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस इज टिपिकली बैड, नोटोरियसली बैड.
तो इसका मतलब ये है कि आपने अर्ली रिटायरमेंट ले लिया या फिर इट वाज मोर लाइक अ करियर ब्रेक?
No, no, no. I don't want to retire early. In my case, it was just a career break for me to figure out what's next.
तो अब आप अपनी एक्सपेंसेस कैसे मैनेज कर रहे हो?
At the start of my career break, I kind of set up a mechanism that particular amount that I am spending on my monthly expenses comes from my investments in my debt instruments, basically. Mostly
Okay.
FDs.
बट ये मेरे लिए काफ़ी शॉकिंग है बिकॉज अगर मैं इंटरनेट पे देखूँ ना तो आजकल एक ही एडवाइस होती है कि एफडीज में तो अपना पैसा मत जलाओ.
It's unfortunate that the internet is shelling out this kind of advice. FDs are not bad. They are essential in your portfolio and they are also essential for the market as a whole.
फॉर पीपल इन द ऑडियंस वो कैसे अपनी पैसिव इनकम जनरेट कर सकते हैं?
I think the first step is to
जब मैं आपके बारे में रिसर्च कर रही थी आई सॉ कि आप आईआईटी बॉम्बे से आपने ग्रेजुएशन करी है, देन फॉलोड बाय मैकेंजी में आपने जॉब करी. ये बहुत सारे बच्चों का मतलब एक ड्रीम होता है, फिर भी आपने अपनी जॉब छोड़ दी. ये मेरा एक मेन क्वेश्चन है, ऐसा क्यों किया आपने?
I did my mechanical engineering in IIT Bombay.
ओके.
And believe it or not, my first priority was not to get into management consulting. मेरे को FMCG में जाना था. And at the time, I did apply to PNG, ITC, and a couple of more FMCG firms at the time, but हुआ नहीं उसमें, right? And McKinsey में I was selected in a very specific manufacturing consulting role. ठीक है, तो I mean, it was kind of a hard line from what I learned in my mechanical engineering days in IIT Bombay, and I was hired for that to do to do advanced analytics in manufacturing. So in terms of why I left, right, there's multiple reasons for that as well, but specifically for the thing that you asked, एक लर्निंग प्लेटो हो गया था फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल. दैट वाज वन रीज़न व्हाई आई डिसाइडेड टू टेक अ स्टेप बैक. दूसरा ऐसा है कि मैनेजमेंट कंसल्टिंग में द वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस इज टिपिकली बैड, नोटोरियसली बैड, right? In my case, it was actually on the higher, like on the worst end of bad, because I was spending months and months away from my family and away from even my home office, which was Taiwan at the time. Plus, if you do that for a long period of time, it's okay in your 20s, but if you keep living that kind of life for a long period of time, especially in your 30s, it starts playing with your health, which started happening with me. So all of these reasons kind of culminated, and then finally in 2023 I decided that it now is the right time to take a step back, because beyond that, if I wait for any longer, it probably will be too late.
जनरली आजकल ना लोग फायर बहुत ज़्यादा चल रहा है, तो रिटायरमेंट के लिए आपने, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि आपने अर्ली रिटायरमेंट ले लिया या फिर इट वाज मोर लाइक अ करियर ब्रेक?
No, no, no. I don't want to retire early. Let me make that very clear, right? FIRE, I know what that concept is, financial independence, retire early, whatever that is. But in my case, it was just a career break for me to figure out what's next. In no small part was I heavily inspired by my mom,
ओके.
okay, who is basically the poster child of enjoying her job, essentially, right? I have figured out the things that I like in a career break sort of a thing. I have figured out some things that I like that I want to take forward. There are a few things lined up. Pretty excited about that.
Oh wow.
No, the retirement is not even on the horizon. I'd like to work and I like to add value as much as I can, till as far as I can. So that's where I stand in terms of financial independence and in terms of early retirement. So wo FIRE, that's my basically my outlook on FIRE right now personally.
इस करियर ब्रेक में आप अपना टाइम कैसे यूटिलाइज कर रहे हो? लाइक किन किन हॉबीज में आप एंगेज रहते हो, या फिर आपके पास कोई स्पेसिफिक प्लान है कि आपको इस टाइम पे यही चीज़ें करनी है, तो आप कैसे डिवाइड कर रहे हो अपने करियर ब्रेक टाइम को?
जब मैंने करियर ब्रेक स्टार्ट किया था तो आई हैड दिस स्ट्रक्चर्ड लिस्ट कि ये आइटम्स मुझे करने हैं, राइट? उसमें एक था कि आई वांट टू लर्न हाउ टू कोड प्रॉपर्ली. इसेंशियली आई डिसाइडेड दैट वो अच्छे से सीखना है, विच आई डिड. Second item on that list was I had started learning the guitar
Oh, nice.
back during the COVID lockdowns. So I just wanted to, basically learn it in a more structured way. And then so these were the kind of bucket list items that I started with. But एक महीने में I realized that I need mental stimulation. Things that just came to me out of the blue. Like I've been interested in blockchain technology since I guess 2015, 2017, around that time. So, and then I realized that there's still a lack of reading material on this subject matter in the market, especially for non-technical readers. So I decided to do something about that, and I dedicated like 4 months to write a book around it.
Oh wow.
It's called Blockchain, Bitcoin, and Beyond. It's on Amazon. I have a copy here. I'll show it to you.
अमेजिंग।
That's the book.
वाओ! जब आपकी जॉब स्टार्ट हुई थी, तब आपकी इन हैंड सैलरी क्या थी?
That time, I guess, minimal, मतलब एक I remember 8-9 लाख होगी per annum.
तो तब आप अपने एक्सपेंसेस कैसे मैनेज कर रहे थे? क्या आपके एक्सपेंसेस कहाँ-कहाँ?
As a freshly graduated bachelor, you know, like a big part of the payout used to
या,
go into rent, used to go into food, and then hanging out with friends and all that.
या।
I remember for the till the end of 2015, I didn't even think about saving, or I didn't even
दैट
think
वाज़ माय नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन कि आप क्या सेव कर पा रहे थे?
I'm sure I did save some because I I don't even remember now, but
या।
that was not an objective, right? At least for the first 3 to 5 years of my career, I was like, अभी just graduate हुए कुछ मिल गया है, just like
बिल्कुल।
let's enjoy this life, right?
सो आउट ऑफ क्यूरियोसिटी, लास्ट जब आपने मैकेंजी छोड़ा, तब आपकी एनुअली क्या मतलब क्या आपकी सैलरी थी? एंड अज्यूमिंग कि आपके एक्सपेंसेस भी तब तक बढ़ गए होंगे, तो उसका भी क्या बाइफर्केशन था?
I moved to Taiwan
ओके।
in 2020,
हम्म।
and then also I kind of climbed up the hierarchy of McKinsey,
ओके।
and my last role over there was associate partner.
ओके।
So telling you a number is a complicated affair because there were several components to it. But I
Okay.
would say convert kara ke, it would be somewhere around 1 to 1.7 or 1.8 CR. वो
Okay.
range में होगा वो,
हम्म।
right? And in terms of expenses, फिर वही basically you know standard year, like there was nothing unusual except the fact that I like to travel a lot. So I do, as part of McKinsey also I traveled, but that was for work. But every year in the last 7 to 8 years, I've taken 2 to 3 personal trips that have taken up a chunk of my expenses.
मतलब चलो ये तो आपके तब के एक्सपेंसेस हो गए, लेकिन अब आपने करियर ब्रेक ले लिया,
Yeah.
तो अब आप अपने एक्सपेंसेस कैसे मैनेज कर रहे हो? आपने कुछ लिमिट सेट करी है क्योंकि यू आर ऑन योर करियर ब्रेक, तो आपको भी कुछ फाइनेंशियली अपने आप को देखना पड़ेगा, तो उस पर्सपेक्टिव से आपके क्या एक्सपेंसेस है अब?
At the start of my career break, I kind of set up a mechanism that particular amount that I am spending on my monthly expenses comes from my investments in my debt instruments, basically, mostly
Okay.
FDs.
So that's your passive income then.
Well, I define passive income a bit differently than what most people would define in the market. Right? For
Okay.
me, look, let me just clarify this for you with numbers, how I think about this. Let's say that at the start of a year, you have 10 lakh in your bank account
Hmm.
and you decide to invest that in various instruments,
Right.
such that at the end of the year, you end up with 12 lakh.
Correct.
ठीक है? Now, many people would say that आपका passive income हो गया 2 lakh.
Hmm.
That's not how I think about it. I think that passive income is that part of the 2 lakh which you make available as cash that you can spend on your expenses.
Okay.
So for example, आपने अगर म्यूचुअल फंड्स में पैसे डाल रखे, इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में, which is your long term bet and you're not selling them right now,
Right.
तो वो आपका कॉर्पस में ग्रोथ हो गया, दैट्स नॉट पैसिव इनकम, वो आपने बेचा ही नहीं है, तो आपको यू कांट स्पेंड दैट, राइट? नाउ अगेन देयर इज नो राइट और रॉन्ग है, दैट्स हाउ आई थिंक अबाउट इट. सो इन द सेंस वो 2 लाख जो मैं एग्जांपल बोल रहा था, वो 2 लाख में से अगर 50,000 ऐसा है कि दैट इज कमिंग टू यू वाया FD इंटरेस्ट और वाया म्यूचुअल फंड रिटर्न्स दैट यू सोल्ड ऑफ और वाया रेंटल इनकम फॉर एग्जांपल,
Right.
या तो फिर ये यू रोट अ बुक और यू मेड अ वीडियो व्हिच इज अर्निंग यू सम मनी every month, right? So वो आपका passive income हो गया. So essentially now to come back to your question कि मेरे expenses मेरे passive income से ही cover होते हैं या नहीं, in the first 6 to 8 months of my career break, while I was thinking about this mechanism, I basically made that happen because I was drawing monthly interest from FDs where a significant amount of or part of my portfolio sat. But then with time, as I understood better, I understood myself better, I understood the market better, and I started reallocating my portfolio accordingly. Now that's not happening anymore, right? I think like still 50 to 60% of my expenses sort of would be covered by my definition of passive income. But the rest, well, it's still kind of selling off of debt instruments or just money in the bank account.
Layman's like me and for people in the audience, वो कैसे अपनी passive income generate कर सकते हैं?
If you are someone who are starting out, just thinking about all of this, I think the first step is to not think about passive income but to think about your expenses. Then for example, if you realize that आपका जो लोएस्ट कैटेगरी है एक्सपेंस का, लेट्स से इट्स एंटरटेनमेंट, आपके लेट्स से 3,000 रुपीज़ पर मंथ आपके जा रहे हैं इन वॉचिंग मूवीज, इन योर नेटफ्लिक्स बिल, तो इसेंशली टारगेट करो कि यू सेटअप अ स्ट्रक्चर्ड स्ट्रीम ऑफ पैसिव इनकम कि ये कंपोनेंट कवर हो जाए. तो इन दिस प्रोसेस व्हाट विल हैपन दैट जो 3,000 रुपये आपके एक्टिव इनकम से जा रहा था ये कवर करने के लिए, वो एक एक साइड में हट गया एंड वो पैसिव इनकम से अभी स्टार्ट हो गया. तो वो जो 3,000 रुपये आपने एक्टिव इनकम के सेव कर लिए, दैट यू कैन पुट इन टू जनरेट मोर पैसिव इनकम. वो कंपोनेंट कवर होने के बाद मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट कंपोनेंट. चलो ठीक है, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, राइट, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट मी 8 to 9,000 पर मंथ. अभी लेट मी सेट अप अ स्ट्रीम टू कवर दिस ऑल्सो.
करेक्ट.
तो और वो 3,000 तो हो गया था, वो और 8-9 हज़ार कवर हो गया. 8-9 हज़ार आपके एक्टिव इनकम से बच गए, वो डाल दिया आपने, उससे और पैसिव इनकम जनरेट हो जाएगा. ठीक है. एंड इन द मीन वाइल यू विल ऑल्सो ग्रो इन योर करियर, यू विल गेट इंक्रीमेंट्स. So you invest that, you use that strategically to get more passive income and you start covering each and every item and improve it.
आप अगर इसको थोड़ा और समझा पाओगे, बिकॉज आई एम श्योर कि ज़्यादा लोगों को ये जो टर्म है कंज्यूमर इन्फ्लेशन, लाइफस्टाइल इन्फ्लेशन, इसके बारे में इतना नहीं पता. लाइफस्टाइल पे क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है इसका?
इन्फ्लेशन, वो जो CPI इंडेक्स जो भी है रूरल अर्बन, वो आप देख लेना कितना है. आई थिंक वो अर्बन वो जो है वो आई थिंक 4 से 6% के बीच में है. ठीक है. When you're working, you also typically you get increments that beat out this inflation level. 4 to 6% तो हो ही जाता है. As far as passive income is concerned, you kind of hit a point in your life when जितना passive income draw कर रहे हो, and remember my definition of passive income, right? It does not include all the growth in your portfolio. It just includes the cash component, right? जितना passive income draw कर रहे हो, if you do some math on your expenses and that passive income, you feel that passive income थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया है मेरे एक्सपेंसेस से, एंड इट विल टेक केयर ऑफ द इन्फ्लेशनरी प्रेशर इन द नेक्स्ट कपल ऑफ ईयर्स और द नेक्स्ट 3 or 4 years.
नाउ कमिंग टू द मेन पोर्टफोलियो क्वेश्चन, जो सब जानना चाहते हैं कि आपकी पोर्टफोलियो एलोकेशन क्या है?
It keeps changing. I just made some changes a couple of months ago, but I'll tell you broadly or roughly what it is. I guess around 40% would be in debt instruments, like FDs, PF, PPF, debt mutual funds. There's also like sovereign gold bonds a little bit over there. Then another 40 to 50% is in equity, mutual funds, ETFs and stocks. And then the remaining small part, कि जितना भी बचा है 10-20%, that's in higher risk investments like angel investments.
Okay.
I do a lot of impact investing, and also a small bit in cryptocurrencies and such.
Okay.
Right, so that's broadly how it's distributed.
बट ये मेरे लिए काफ़ी शॉकिंग है, बिकॉज अगर मैं इंटरनेट पे देखूँ ना तो आजकल एक ही एडवाइस होती है कि FDs में तो अपना पैसा मत जलाओ. इससे अच्छा है कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जितना म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो उसमें करो. एंड ऐसे टाइम में भी आप फिर भी FD को प्रेफर कर रहे हो या PPF को, मतलब वाई दीज ट्रेडिशनल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स?
It's unfortunate that the internet is shelling out this kind of advice because there's no absolutes here. FDs are not bad. They are essential in your portfolio and they are also essential for the market as a whole. If tomorrow, if all people basically remove their money from FDs and dump it into equity, then it's not going to do good for the market, because then banks are not going to have enough liquidity and there's going to be a credit related crisis. Okay, and then the domino effect is ultimately going to cause some sort of a market crash. But that aside, as I said, I'm no economist, I just know the theory of this, right?
Correct.
In a personal portfolio, balance is important.
Correct.
There are no absolutes here. As I said, your personal portfolio is your decision. You need to understand your goals and your risk appetite. As far as what you read on the internet is concerned, right, कि equity में पैसा grow होता है, compound होता है, FDs में नहीं होता है. By the way, FDs में भी, debt instruments में भी compound होता ही है पैसा, but वो कम rate पे होता है. ठीक है, that's the cost you pay for certainty.
Talking about mutual funds only, what is your take on Stepup SIP and then this entire perspective of SIP in general?
See, SIP is fine because you kind of match your investment timing with your cash flow or your availability of cash. आपको सैलरी आएगी, आपको इन्वेस्ट करना है, आप इन्वेस्ट करो. दैट्स SIP, राइट? थोड़ा थोड़ा करके आप जैसे जैसे आपका सेविंग होता है वैसे आप इन्वेस्ट करो. देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग इन दैट. बट स्टेप अप SIP कैलकुलेटर शुड कम विद अ कैवियट, राइट? क्योंकि उसमें बेसिकली द फंडा इज दैट यू पुट अ नंबर कि अभी इस महीने आप इतना इन्वेस्ट करोगे. एवरी ईयर यू इंक्रीज इट बाय वॉट एवर 10-15%. एंड देन सडनली आप अगर उसको 20 साल के बाद देखोगे इवन एट अ मॉडेस्ट रिटर्न लाइक 10-12%, तो वो आ जाएगा.
Right.
लाइक आज अगर आप 50,000 पे स्टार्ट कर रहे हो तो प्रॉब्ली वो 6-10 करोड़ तक आ जाएगा, राइट. एंड देन यू थिंक यू वाओ, लाइक ये this number is what I want, मैं घर खरीद लूंगा and all that, right. There are actually several variables at play here. First of all, on an SIP calculator, any like Stepup or normal, try adjusting that return rate from just by 1% and see what happens to the final number. वो हिल जाएगा पूरा. That's the power of compounding, right? Also realize that the money that you are putting has to come from somewhere. You need to
Correct.
earn that, right? And then वो जो आपके पोर्टफोलियो में कंपाउंडिंग हो रहा है एंड इट्स गिविंग यू अ वेरी लार्ज नंबर, वही कंपाउंडिंग आपके स्टेप अप में होने वाला है. So if you start with like 50,000 today and you build a portfolio, you build that calculator till 20 years, probably by the 13th or 15th year, that number is going to hit like astronomical highs,
Correct.
right? Like आपको basically you might need to put like 2 or 3 lakh, maybe even more, into your SIPs. My point is keep all these things in mind, right? Don't just put numbers and think that यही है,
Correct.
सेट हो गया, ऐसे करूंगा मैं, ठीक है. That's why I feel that ये सारे कैलकुलेटर्स जो अवेलेबल है इंटरनेट पे, those should come with these caveats. एटलीस्ट एक इन्फॉर्मेशन देना चाहिए कि this means that you need to spend so much on SIPs 10 years down the line.
So आपके asset allocation debt में भी है, equity में भी है, and you said that you have also invested in a few startups, early age startups.
Yes.
तो उसका मतलब आप पैसिव इनकम जनरेट कर रहे हो वहां से भी, तो इस एज में लाइक यू प्रीटी यंग अभी, तो इस एज में यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग इन अर्ली स्टेज बिजनेसेस. कैन यू टेल अस मोर अबाउट योर एंजल फंडिंग?
So first of all, I don't think I'm that young anymore. I'm 34 only. Angel investments are not for passive income, right? That's my sort of one of my desires to do impact investing.
Okay.
And I invest in sectors like healthcare, education, agriculture, all of these that have real societal impact.
Okay.
It's something that I feel like doing. In terms of my angel investments, I think there are 6 startups now that I'm invested in as a very early angel investor. But none of them with the expectation कि ये मुझे इस साल में exit देगा या इतना growth होगा. All of the founders I know personally. All of the ideas I have vetted thoroughly. And then the way that I invest is that my money comes with my mind share as well, right? So basically I make myself available as an advisor, which is basically utilizing my skills that I developed as a 10-year management consultant also, and help them grow, scale, or help them solve any operational problems, which is kind of my forte. So I kind of with the investment I've been working with several founders to basically help them with growing their startups at very early stages. So that's my philosophy behind angel investing basically.
अब जैसे आप आपने एंजल इन्वेस्टिंग भी करी है एंड देन डेट में भी है, इक्विटी में भी है, तो फॉर योर पैसिव इनकम आप जब विड्रॉल्स वगैरह करते हो तो आप सबसे ज़्यादा एफडीज में से डू यू विड्रॉ, या आपने कभी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में से सोचा है कि आप विड्रॉ करोगे?
Mostly it's been from FDs.
Okay.
As I mentioned at the early days of my career break, which is a year ago, I was exclusively drawing interest from mutual funds on a monthly basis and using that to fuel my expenses. But then as and when time passed and basically I understood the market, I understood what I'm doing more. And as I mentioned earlier, now I don't fuel my expenses solely from FD interests.
Okay.
I do it in a very balanced way. A part of it is still fueled from FD interest, but also there's debt mutual funds as well. And then there's what I call a buffer pool as well that I maintain in a bank account.
I'm also very curious to know कि आप already financially independent है, आपको retire नहीं होना, fire का FI तो है already, तो how does it feel to you?
First of all, no, I wouldn't say that I'm financially independent. At least not in the long term. Because I know myself and I know what lifestyle inflation means in my case, right? So, it's going to be massive, and I think I've done some Excel math behind this. If I decide not to do anything right now, I probably would be able to sustain like this for, let's say, 10-15 years. So I wouldn't call myself financially independent on a long term. Short term, yes. Abhi, touch wood, I don't need to worry about where my next meal is going to come from.
But I'm also very eager to know कि अब आपने career break लिया है and future में would you ever consider going back to a 9 to 5?
If I'm enjoying what I'm doing, why not? As I said, right, एक बहुत बचपन से इच्छा थी कि I'll code. 11th-12th में we had computer science as an elective subject, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. उसके बाद मैंने कभी किया नहीं वो. So I know it's one of my passions. I thoroughly enjoyed what I did in my career break, learning to code in Python and C++. वो if I'm able to take that forward in a structured way, and that's just me personally speaking, क्योंकि वो मेरा passion है, right? So if I find, or if anyone finds a passion that they thoroughly enjoy, वो 9 to 5 will not be 9 to 5 anymore.
Right.
You go to work probably at 9, and then you look at your watch, it'll already be 8 p.m. because you have enjoyed what you did, right?
करेक्ट. आपके करियर ब्रेक में योर फैमिली सपोर्ट, फैमिली भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, योर वाइफ सपोर्ट, तो उनका क्या टेक था इसमें? एंड इज शी ऑल्सो, मतलब शी हैज द सेम माइंडसेट, सेम फ्रेमवर्क, or is she also contributing to your income right now?
No. So, basically, I didn't want to put any pressure on her from that perspective, right? So, essentially, I planned that this is why we basically started tracking our expenses. So, I know exactly how much of those attributed to me, and that's how I plan my passive income. My wife, in general, was very supportive because we have been married for like 8 years now.
Oh wow.
And, consulting means that I had to stay away for a long time.
Yeah.
So, essentially, from that point of view, it was ideal, right? In fact, she got inspired by me and also thought of taking a career break herself.
फॉर आवर व्यूअर्स जो आपके इस पॉडकास्ट को अभी सुन रहे होंगे एंड आपकी फाइनेंशियल स्ट्रैटेजीज के हिसाब से अपनी आगे की जर्नी प्लान कर रहे होंगे, उनके लिए आप क्या एडवाइस देना चाहोगे?
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, एक आज का ट्रेंड हो गया है कि यू लिसन टू अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स दैट आर सेड ऑन द इंटरनेट एंड यू गेट इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय देम विदाउट अप्लाइंग योर ओन ब्रेन, विच इज वाई द होल थिंग ऑफ एफडी से पैसे निकालो और पूरे इक्विटी में डाल दो. दैट्स वेयर इट कम्स फ्रॉम, राइट? I would implore everyone to assimilate information, but then come up with a model of their own using that information. From the point of view of your portfolio, this is a very personal solution. Okay, you can't listen to an influencer say that, oh ये nifty 50 आप ये म्यूचुअल फंड में डाल लो इतना ग्रो होगा वो theoretically होगा if the situation plays out like that, but does that work for you? Does that work for your risk appetite? Can you take that level of stress? Answer that question and then decide कि आपको कितना डेट में रखना है, कितना इक्विटी में डालना है.
Investment in the securities market is subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.